and all these things will allow you to move further in your career. So how learning is important from these different dimensions, learning is very, very important. Now let me first clarify the theories behind the learning, then I will move on to the Q&A. I hope it works for everyone. I'll work it.
Hi, welcome.
The same way I pick the concept, I explain you the theory, then I go with the Q&A, right? So please everyone, write down your doubts, anything regarding to the theories of learning, we will discuss at the one go. Now, every concept has some foundational standards, let's say. So how you allow the people to learn, in what way you allow the people to learn, because you know in organization, every person is different. You have a different capacity to learn, I have a different capacity to learn. There in the organization, I keep motivated, that keep me engaged, that there is something good in my career, so I should definitely grab it, right? And continuously learning culture will always allow the people to grow in their path, because such type of, you can say, process will allow the people to get to know about the new things. They need to develop more responsibility. There will be training sessions, workshops, mentoring, and all these things will allow you to move further in your career. So how learning is important from these different dimensions, learning is very, very important. Now let me first clarify the theories behind the learning, then I will move on to the Q&A. I hope it works for everyone. I'll work in the same way, I pick the concept, I explain you the theory, then I go with the Q&A, right? So please everyone, write down your doubts, anything regarding to the theories of learning, we will discuss at the one go. Now, every concept has some foundational standards, let's say. So how you allow the people to learn, in what way you allow the people to learn, because you know in organization, every person is different. You have a different capacity to learn, I have a different capacity to learn. Maybe if you give me a training on the software, I learn in 10 days. Maybe you are very quick, you learn in 5 days. So why it is different? Because individually we are different in our capacity. So that's why there are some theories which basically help the organization to understand that what is the speed of the individual to learn the new things. If we give them the training, how many people may learn, how many people may need still repeated, you can say, exposure to learn the same skill. It's like that, right? So basically there are various theories which help the organizations to understand the learning context of any individual. The first theory is a very traditional theory. I'll just tell you, it is a very simple theory. It says that if you repeatedly show me anything, if you associate a condition with me, I learn quickly. I'll give you a simple example that, let's say for example, I can say that in this classical conditioning actually, what is happening with the employee, that if you give employee appreciation, benefits, praise, recognition, whenever the employee is meeting the target, it means the employee keeps on motivated. So what is the condition here? Condition is that you are giving some kind of, you can say, repeated events, associated events. I can say this theory is more based on your reflective behavior. It is more, you can say, it is automatic. For example, if there is a bonus, if there is a recognition from your boss, it automatically means you have to perform more than the expectation. So in this case, I can say your motivation, your performance is related to what is associated with that. So here when I'm written that employers can use this theory to motivate their employees, because what they expect everyone should be here positive. They don't expect you that you should not work, you should absent, you should lazy. They expect
Welcome,
I should not
welcome.
give them any benefit, I should not work in that way. So classical conditioning is a very simple theory that says that if you want an employee to learn some new skill or to perform some good behavior, positive behavior, anything, if you really want some positivity from the employee end, you should associate that positivity with some condition. So it is more reflective. So automatically the person will give you positive things if you attach these conditions with them. That is a traditional theory, classical conditioning. Now, the next theory is of operant conditioning. Now, what do you mean by operant? Let me complete this, then I'll take Q&A. I know then you'll be bombarding me with so many questions. Now, when I'm talking about classical, it means that your learning is related with condition. It is reflective. It is automatic. Like if you show these things, bonus, appraisal, promotion, the employee automatically feel motivated, or the employee automatically has positive feedback because the person has assumed that all these things are related to positivity, reflection in the behavior, motivation, satisfaction. It's like that. But what operant conditioning says that? Operant conditioning says that it is more based on your voluntary behavior, right? So basically, in this theory, it basically focuses that your behavior is you react in certain way because it is always impacted by the result. Let's say, for example, if a very simple example I give, that if as an employee I am performing above the expectations, I have to do 10 tasks, I have performed 15 tasks. So why I am performing? Because I know that the result is going to be good for it. The manager, or I can say the organization, is going to give me high pay hike or bonus when I perform more than expectation, let's say. So my behavior is always, I can say, it is influenced by some results, by some consequences. So in this case, I can say in operant theory, basically, your behavior is voluntary. It is your wish. It is not automatic. It's like that. Basically, this operant theory works on two things: reinforcement and your this punishment. You should understand these terminology, then you understand this theory better. Now, learners, one thing I want to tell you here, that in your SLM also, in these theories, you find one word which is related to stimulus. Now, don't get confused. Stimulus is any object, any person, any situation in the environment that enable you to respond something. Maybe, for example, if I want to test that how much you have learned about perception, I give you some images, maybe in the form of some picture, some diagram, then I may ask you that what is this type of perception? Which factor is hitting in that perception? So this image, this diagram is a stimulus. I use this to understand how much you have learned about the perception. So stimulus is anything, any object, any situation in the environment, can be auditory, can be visual, can be any form that generate your response, right? So this word you will be able to find in the SLM also. Now, what you understand here, there are 4 strategies in operant theory. First of all, you should understand positive means add, negative means remove, reinforcement means strengthening, or you can say in a simple terminology, reinforcement, you can say to strongly support something. It's like that, right? And increase, and punishment means decrease. I repeat once again, positive means adding, negative means reducing, punishment is always weak your behavior, and reinforcement means something that strong your behavior. So I can say punishment is a negative thing, and negative is, we all know what it is, right? So there are 4 actually strategies in this. Now what do you mean by positive reinforcement? It means that if I want my employee to react in a positive way, I give them some positive result or reward or outcome, right? So if you have done your task before deadline, your boss will give you appreciation certificate or bonus. It means as an employee, I think that whenever I'm going to do this, the outcome will be the same. So looking to the outcome, my behavior is going to be the same in the future. So this bonus, this recognition certificate is a reinforcement. It is actually, you can say, increase my behavior of repeating this, that I'm going to always work before the deadline. So that is a positive reinforcement. What do you mean by negative reinforcement? Now, as I said, negative is taking something back, removing. Negative means you are removing an unpleasant situation or stimulus when you want a desired behavior to occur. Now, what it means actually, generally it happens that people don't take their work seriously. At times it may happen because of any reason, personal reason, professional reason, many times, right? Now, continuously I see that a person is not performing good. What I can do? Either I can consult that person, either I should not give that person a task. Now, when I'm not giving any person a task, how I can know that he or she can perform? Now, what is negative reinforcement says that if you really want improvement in the performance, give that person some extra workload. Now, when you see the person is doing good, he's on a track, remove that extra workload. So here removal is a negative thing, but reinforcement means you want the person to be perform. So once you understand that employee become responsible, he or she understand what he's supposed to do, you remove that extra workload. So your extra workload is a negative thing, but you are removing it because you want the employee to be performing. So behavior is always here strengthening, adding, or reinforced means you here the behavior is always you want to increase such type of behavior. And what is behavior? Positive improvement in the performance. Next 2 strategies we talk about positive punishment and negative punishment. Now punishment, as I said, in both the cases it means to weak that thing. It means you are doing something wrong. Organization wants to reduce that, to weak that thing. Now what do you mean by positive punishment? Positive punishment means here an employee who missed the deadline continuously. Now, might be given some additional duty. So here, additional duty is a positive thing because I'm adding that. A person is multiple times miss all the deadlines. Whenever I ask the person to do this project on time, the person always miss the deadline. Now, what I'm doing, I am adding the extra duties to that person so that this person will improve some habits. Late submissions will be discouraged, and this person is not going to repeat this behavior in future. Let's say, right? Simple thing I can say in a workplace. Again, you can assume in that way. So generally, organizations may adding some negative things to you so that you will reduce this behavior of late submission, right? Now, what do you mean by negative punishment? Negative punishment means here you are taking something back, removing, and punishment means you want to reduce that behavior. Now, it means that a person who is violating all the policy, a person who is not ready, let's say you are a type of employee who is not actually accepting the policies of the organization, maybe related to dress code, maybe related to reporting, maybe related to you always skip your protocols, you always report to your super boss, although it is tell to you that if you have a problem, connect with your immediate supervisor, but you don't follow the policy, you violate the policy. So what happens? Employee who violates the policy, you reduce all the benefits, all the amenities, all the bonus per to that person. So punishment is you don't want an employee to do such type of things. That's why you are removing all the benefits, all the perks of that person. So that such type of behavior is what the person is violating the policy will be decreased. It's like that. So in the case of positive, you are adding the additional duty so that the person will not do the late submission. In the case of negative thing, you are taking all the benefits from that person because the person is not responsibly behaving. So classical is more conditional, automatic, but this is behavior. Behavior is actually the reflection of the outcome. If you understand in that way, it is easy for you to understand this in that case, right? So basically, in the overall organizational context, if I'm a manager, if I want to understand how my people will learn, so I can easily observe them and understand that who is going to be motivated by the result and for whom I have to attach a condition. So these theories will help me in order to differentiate between the people, that how a person can be learned with a condition or how a person can be learned if I attach some outcome or consequence with that. So that's an operant conditioning. I know you'll be having a lot of questions, so I am ready to answer all your questions related to this. Smritesh, like if the person has submitting something but late, it means the person maybe, again you have to understand here from the managerial perspective that maybe again the person may would not have this intention because of any personal problem, he or she may have done that. So in that case, for example, if you really want that the next time the person would submit the assignments on time, so either that's your call as a manager, you think that overloading him will learn this thing, or you can fight with the person, you know, if you're working with that person, you know that how that person is behaving from the past. So from the past experience, you can say that if you remove some benefits from him, better work, so you have to take a call. That is an individual perception, what is an individual characteristic, personality factor. Accordingly, you apply whether punishment will work or whether accordingly you apply whether punishment will work or whether reinforcement will work. So that's how it happens. Manoj, I cannot say punishment will be effective too in all the cases, but at times there are certain employees who are very rigid and adamant. So for them, it's very helpful. Absolutely. I hope that it is the slightest visible to everyone. In some case, suppose that I need to zoom in the picture. I hope that everyone is clear between the reinforcement and the punishment. Please understand, reinforcement always means to strengthen any behavior, to make that way of acting more strong. Punishment is always in the terms of reducing that behavior. If you say negative reinforcement, it means, for example, let's say if the person you find earlier was not working, now the person is showing improvement in the performance. So whatever extra workload you have given that person, you remove that. So it is a negative reinforcement because the person is encouraged to continue work hard, so you remove the extra workload. So it is a negative reinforcement. Negative punishment is person is not ready to accept anything about the organization. So you have to take all the benefits from that person. That is negative punishment. Positive reinforcement is always good because the person is actually motivated whenever the person is performing better. What kind of positive punishment? Now you have to understand here. There can be various ways of positive punishment. Like if you actually think that a person is always comes late, as we talk about attendance, daily you find that person is always comes late, basically. So you give some task that's related to early hours. Maybe. So this early hour task may allow that person to be on time in the office. That is a positive punishment. Now that's a different case with it. If you given one person overburdened with more assignments than he is supposed to do, in these you are not good with your delegation of the task. You have to make sure that every person should be able to do the task as for the best of their capacity. I don't know everyone is clear with the reinforcement and punishment. Now, innovation and adaptability is more related to a culture of the organization. Any organization which keeps on encouraging you to learn new things, learn new skills, go with the training workshops, it means you will also become more flexible. Now, just in case, again from the different perspective, if some other opportunity will be there in the future for you, you'll be ready for that because your organization is already giving you more chances to be more productive on this path. It's like that. Now, in case of positive punishment, I'm not saying extra workload will increase your efficiency. Why? You have because you don't want the person to be in that way. Punishment means that you want to reduce that behavior. That's why you have to add something positive in that. Just as I said, I'll give you one example that a person is always comes late in office. So you have to give some task logic of early hours. So if you really want that coming late is a behavior that you want to tweak, you have to add this early hour task. It's like that. So now I'm moving to the next part. Now it depends on organization to organization which theory is happening. But now I have explained this reinforcement and punishment multiple times. Now I request you people to please have a learning among yourself. Now let us talk about the next theory that is related to the social learning. The social learning theory says that rather than we can say based on the outcome or rather than based on some condition, your learning happens when you observe the people. Excuse me. So social learning says that there are a variety of the ways in which the people learn the new things in the organization. The first, I'm sure you are able to see here. First is when you see somebody is how a person is doing some task. Let's say, for example, you are new to the organization. There are many organizations who have this concept of buddy up. Now, what is this buddy up means? That you sit next to the person, right? And then your boss says that observe this person, what this person is doing. Accordingly, you also have to do the task. So that is the observation learning. So that you see while some person is doing, so you learn that how to do that. So that is the observation learning. Modeling simply means that where you actually demonstrate something so that others will also learn. So a teacher simply shows that how to write an essay, introduction, and students may follow the same structure. That's what's happened. That's how we also learn, let's say, right? So for example, if you go to the gym, so your trainer will tell you that how to do the exercise, then you actually, the person will demonstrate and you learn how to do that. The same happens in the organizations also if there is a new software. So that technical person will give you demonstration that how the software works, what are the manuals, what are the step-by-step procedure to follow. With that demonstration, you learn how to work on that software. So that is a modeling concept. That's a way how you, with the demonstration behavior, you actually learn with that. Now, there are other two concepts in the social learning. First is vicarious reinforcement and the punishment, and next is a self-regulation, right? Now, please understand it carefully. When I'm talking about vicarious, when I talk about vicarious reinforcement and punishment, I hope till here everyone is clear that reinforcement is making anything more strong. Punishment is to reduce your behavior, to decrease that behavior, right? So punishment is negative, reinforcement is more in the positive aspect. Now, what is this? You can say vicarious learning means means that you are observing that somebody is getting rewarded, right? You are observing that somebody is getting punished because the person is not doing good. So it impacts your own behavior also, right? So it's a very simple thing. Let's say what this concept means. You and your colleagues are working on the same projects. Now, every time you find that your colleague is getting appreciation or benefits because the person is very quick in meeting the deadlines. Maybe you are also quick in acceptance, but at times it may happen. The two people doing the same thing, but one person is getting more recognition. So by observing that person, I can say, you also start working on your weak parts the way that you want to improve, so that you will also be able to complete your task before the deadline. So that is a vicarious reinforcement and punishment. Now it is a reinforcement because here you are doing something to improve your behavior. So your behavior working hard, how you get this? Because you see that somebody is getting a benefit if the person is achieving something before the deadline. Same way if you take this thing in a punishment aspect, you find person is already coming late, so there is a salary cut in that person. A person is coming late in the office, so HR used to deduct his salary. So you simply don't repeat, you simply don't dare to come late, else you'll be also fall in that trap of deduction of his salary. So that is a vicarious punishment, means by observing something negative, you learn you should not do this. It's like that. And self-regulation means as an employee, you yourself should monitor what you are doing, what is your outcome, what is your productivity, and it is more like a self-reward concept, let's say, right? As simple examples, some examples from academician and fitness perspective, it's been given there. Like if you set your goal yourself, that every day you have to study 2 hours, right? And you can say you reward yourself with some screen time. Let's say when you completed 2 hours of study, you watch your favorite movie. So that's the way you reward yourself because you have completed your goal of 2 hours study. It's like that. Same way in an organization, if you monitor what you are doing daily, you are very productive. So you self-reward yourself by anything. You can go outside for a lunch, you can go outside for a coffee when you complete your task on time. So in any way, social learning very simply says that your observation plays a very important role in what you learn. It's like that. By imitating others, by when they demonstrate, you learn from that. If you see anything negative, try to reduce in yourself, or you can see you are the best judge of yourself. It's like that. Self-regulation. If you really want to complete some task, you have been, for example, when you are there in the office today, you have 10 tasks to do. Let's say. Now your friend asks you for going for the coffee break, somebody in your team asks you to go for the lunch. It's your call. Like how you are going to complete the task, keeping those things in consideration. Now, for example, before log off hours, your friend has asked you to go for the coffee. So once you finish the task, it means you are done with your daily task, all the 10 tasks are completed on time, now you can go for the coffee. So that's the kind of reward you are giving to yourself because you are productive enough for it. It's like that. Self-regulation will always work to being motivated towards the more positive behavior. It's like that. Right? Please don't post anything regarding the assignments, I request you. Now, Shikal, you have asked a very different type of question here. You say that a person is not motivated, discouraged, and the person is scared of positive punishment or reinforcement. Now, such type of people who definitely I agree that there are employees who are very scared for being punished, right? So, what is the way to motivate? A simple thing, you should actually talk to these people. Maybe these people are not open to discuss. Maybe they have some kind of things going on in their mind that doesn't allow them to focus on the work. So, I believe that they may have some personality issues that I can say they're not doing intentionally, but maybe that make them to think about all these different aspects. Yes. Yes, I think it can be direct and interview is factual. That's very good to know. Thank you so much, Indre, for your appreciations. It really was for me. I will learn to teach you more better. Now, next I am taking the concept of personality. I hope till here everyone is clear with what is the. Learning and how it works in organization. Now let me take you to another concept. It's a very multifaceted thing. We all have different personalities. I have a different personality. Maybe I am very extrovert. Somebody is very open to the new things. Somebody is very introvert. So everyone has a different personality traits. So basically, personality is a multifaceted concept. It actually, in an organization, it's very important for the manager to understand these personalities. And it's not easy, to be very honest. You cannot count any personality and you cannot say any personality is number 1, number 2, number 3. No. Everyone is different with the thought, feeling, and the behavior. But what is your personality? It will shape your perception. It will actually decide how you behave, how you interact. If I am an introvert person, I always like to do the things on my desktop or my system. I don't like to talk to the people. If I'm an extrovert, I would like to socialize with the people. So that's how my personality is a reflection in my behavior, actually, right? So this is how it works. Piyush, please don't get confused. It is very simple. Assume for yourself you understand all these things. Learning how you acquire the new knowledge, skill, and that bring the change in your behavior. That's a learning. Personality, it's more related to your thought, feeling, attitude. How you react, how you behave, it depends on your personality. It's like that. Don't get confused. I again request you that please don't post anything related to assignments. It really distracts me. Now, what actually help the manager to understand more about the personality? First is temperament. What do you mean by temperament? There are some qualities you're born with. Maybe you're shy. Maybe you're open to the people. Maybe you are unclear with your thoughts. Maybe you're not good in the decision. Temperament. So it is your inner qualities that impact how you respond with the individuals. Character. What is your moral and ethical qualities? It also defines your personality. Your individuality. As I say, every individual is different with the thoughts, feeling, and attitude. So as a manager, I have to understand that every individual is different. And personality will allow you how you adjust to the situation in the environment. Let's say, for example, from my childhood, I saw this thing in my family that my mom used to struggle for livelihood. Maybe it could be any reason. I'll not take on that way. So I saw that from my childhood, that I have this kind of culture in my family that if I have 100 rupees, I'm happy with that. If I have 1,000 rupees, I'm happy with that. If I have anything immediate need, I rethink about that twice or thrice and then I go and buy it, whether I actually need it or not. That actually makes me more mature in my life. It's like that. Absolutely, Meenakshi. It's your temperament, anger comes to temperament. What is your inner traits? At times, I can say that definitely your anger, your anxiety, your stress, all these things are inborn actually. Right? Biswas Myers-Briggs is absolutely, it is actually an indicator that defines your personality on various aspects. So you'll get to know from the PDFs as well, right? Now, one thing I want to tell you here, I'm not taking everything because it's a really extensive unit. So with every concept, you find how it is applicable in the workplace. Let's say if I taught you perception, you'll find another topic related to how perception is applicable in the workplace. I taught you learning, you can easily find more characteristics regarding to that. But more or less, if you read perception, learning, personality, or even motivation, you find some common factors. These impact the way you communicate. These impact how you take decisions. These impact how you manage the stress, anxiety. So moreover, 5 or 6 pointers are common. If you fix them in any of the topic, it works. Trust me, right? And adaptability, as I was discussing from the childhood, I learned to adjust to the situations. The same, I become the same personality. So even in the organization, if the proper facilities are not there, it will not impact my productivity. I can focus on my work. That's how it works. So these are the personality, basic things that an individual should know to understand more about the people. Now let me talk about the theories which actually give more in-depth knowledge about the personality. The first theory is about suggest that there are 5 characteristics defining the personality. how the person is actually. So these are the broad dimensions. The first characteristic says that how much you are open to the new things, how much you are creative, how much you are ready to accept the change, let's say. So if you are very low on this characteristic, it means you want something that you are doing continuously. You don't want anything new in your life. For example, if your manager is giving you some task that you are doing daily on the Excel, you are good with that. It's like that actually, right? Now let me first complete with this. I'll get back to the Q&A again. Then we talk about consciousness. Consciousness, it's actually measure your emotional, not actually emotional thing, but consciousness is a characteristic that defines that how much organized you are, how much goal-oriented, how much directed you are. It is like, for example, so those people who are high on this parameter, they are dedicated, they are meticulous, let's say. It means that these people can be work better in the higher roles, in the leadership roles, I can say. Such type of people we require. Those who require attention to the detailing, answerability, consciousness means how much you are ready to take the charge for your team. It's like that. Extrovert, very social people, energetic. They are good with the social environment as compared to introvert who are very reserved and shy. So as I said, if I want two roles, team leader and a typewriter. So typewriter is a person who is more introvert. A person can work with a system only. Extrovert person I can put in a team lead because the person has to interact with the different minds, different people. It's like that. Agreeableness means how much as an individual you are cooperative, supportive, and empathetic to the people. What do you mean by empathetic? Stepping into the shoes of other person. As a manager, somebody is saying that, but boss, I'm late because I have some medical issue, emergency at my home. At times now it depends on you. You think that person is giving an excuse. Now, if you are an agreeable person, you actually make that person comfortable first with the task, then you take him for a coffee break and ask that what happened with your family? Do you need any help? That is agreeableness. How much you are understanding that person. Now please don't take it otherwise. That at times people may give the excuse and if manager will ask, the person may give the some blue story, the person may give some blind story which is not real. That may be different case. But if you are agreeable, you will be easy to work with every team-oriented roles. And the last is neuroticism. Neuroticism means how much you are emotionally stable. It actually calculates how much you are able to divert your negative emotions. Can be the stress, can be the anxiety, can be the sadness. Then many times it may happen that your family may have some issues, but you should not reflect the same on your workplace. That shows you are high on the neuroticism, right? So it means the people who are high on this characteristic, they are easily handle the pressure, stress, anxiety. We all know that when we are working in the, organization, many times you don't want to take the stress, but unknowingly it comes. How you are able to cope up with that if you are not emotionally stable, right? So the people who are low on this parameter, they actually cannot find out a way how they can manage their anxiety or stress. So generally, these people have more prone to become more depressive. It's like that. As an organization, as a manager, if I understand these characteristics, it really helped me to actually make the teams in recruitment of the people, and definitely I will be able to align the career as per the strength of each individual. Because for every person, the role is different. It's like that. So if I want to promote two people, and if I actually have a clarity about their personality traits, I can better align them what is most appropriate for them. It's like that actually. Now, yeah, please. Now, as I said, Sanjeev, because personality tests will help in order to judge a person inherently. Because whatever personality you are, your thought process, your feelings, your emotions, your perception will influence by that. Extroversion is extrovert. It means how much you are open to the new things, how much you are energetic, how much you are socially comfortable. Consciousness is more goal-oriented, meticulous, dedicated person, organized. So these people are very good for the leadership roles. Now, when I'm asking about when organizations take the personality test, they really want a person who is more conscious, who is more agreeable. That's the major qualities which is actually being seeking in any individual. When I talk about how as an individual I can contribute to the team dynamics, so if I'm more extrovert and if I am more emotionally stable, it really helps me to understand the team settings. I hope now everyone is clear that how this personality may impact your performance and how it is applicable in the workplace. Extrovert example, it can be any person who is more, you can say, comfortable with the changing, sociable, energetic person, who really love to talk with other people also, outside the department also. Any example you can say. Attitude is a different thing, but actually it impacts, and it again is a reflection of your personality. You can say that, actually. No, that doesn't work well. I'm sorry, you have a different perception, but I have a different perception. Every department is equal in any company. You cannot say HR has more importance. Absolutely. Now, why HR is, that's you can say because they are the people who are the backbone for an organization. That's why they have that people used to give them more importance. But their work style is more different as compared to other functional areas. It's like that. So now your peers will help you in understanding. Now Raj is having a problem with openness to experience. I request somebody to give the answer to this because I've already cleared that. Openness to experience means how much person is more open to learn the new things, more creative, right? Maybe easily accepting the change, not the routine of familiarity task the person wants to do. It's like that. Now moving to the next topic, right? That's related with your psycho. Again, no, not cannot be next topic because again, personality. May also have some theories. Now next I'm going through with the psychoanalytic theory. Now this theory says that your personality is actually being a result of some unconscious things that you have from the childhood experiences, and basically the personality is the interaction of three things: ID, ego, and superego. Now learners, you have to understand this theory in the same way, right? That your personality is the composition of the three things: ID, ego, and superego, and it is all unconscious. Why I say unconscious? Something that you are not, you can say, understandable, something that is not clear. That is how your personality comes up. Now ID means that is the unconscious part of your personality, which says that if there is a need, you have to satisfy it. For example, let's say you see that your colleague is working on some new project. Now looking to that person, you also want to step into that project. You also try to browse about that project, how you can take that project. That is an ID. Means you don't know whether you can do that or not, but you are just looking at that person and you find that that person is getting appreciation from a boss, so you want to do that. So it is more impulsive in nature. You don't concern about what is the result. You even don't know whether you are able to complete that project or not. That is an ID. It is more unconscious part that always says, if you have anything required, if you have anything in your mind, go and do that. It is more impulsive in nature. Now next is the ego. Ego says that if you actually see something in your organization, try to, you can say, look for some limitations also. Definitely you should go for that project, but please match that what is the reality and what is the difference when you can complete this project. So ego says that if you are having any immediate need, so while working on that desire, please consider what can be the result, what can be the challenges in achieving that project. So if I look for any project, I should see whether I have the proper skill to do that. Okay, am I able to complete that project in the next 3 months, which is a requirement. So if I'm taking a more rational approach, calculating the limitations, time, I'm able to do that, it is an ego part. It actually works on that reality. And superego is more your moral part of your personality. It says that as an individual, how you should be morally guided your behavior. Again, I take this example only. If you want to do any project, don't pull the leg of another person. Do your own work. Be honest in your practice. Be ethical. Don't cheat that person to whom you want to copy. Don't learn something from that person and do something which actually backhit that person. So that is a superego. There's a moral part of a personality. Whatever you do in the organization, have some value, have some ethics that should guide your behavior, even though whatever kind of desires you have. It's like that. So ID is more impulsive. You need anything, go and get that without knowing for the result. Ego, check for the reality. That if you want to achieve something, what can be the result for that? What can be the consequences? What can be the actions? What are the challenges? Yes, that is the ego. Give you a reality guide. And superego, that's a more moral part, more ethical part. That if you want to achieve something, you should achieve on your own level, with your own capacity and the skills. Don't try to jump on another person's back. It's like that. That's a superego. Next theory of personality is more related to the human aspect. So this is again, humanistic theory says that as an individual, if you want to understand the personality, you should understand few aspects that's related to the inner growth, inner goodness of the person, right? So what are these elements? What are the core principles of the humanistic theory of personality? There are principles like self-actualization, which means that person wants to do something beyond his or her capacity, where your 100% potential and capabilities can be achievable. Second, free will. It means you can tell the people, individuals have this ability to make their choices, to make their